Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Kralik with Western Technology. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to join together the Strikeforce series of lights so that you can have a continuous drop light run of whatever length is required to properly illuminate your job site. It is strongly recommended that this procedure be completed by an electrician in a workshop in which the environmental conditions of cleanliness can be maintained. Okay, let's get started on this simple 5-minute procedure. In order to do this, you'll need to obtain a Strikeforce extension kit. That includes the Strikeforce light head, body, 20 feet of cable, which is standard, but you can request different lengths, all the way out to an end cover plate. You'll also receive within the kit a gasket and 4 cap screws. The tools that you'll need to complete this procedure include a 3/16 inch Allen wrench and torque wrench, able to measure 75 inch-pounds, and a 7/64 inch Allen wrench. And this is specifically required so that you can ensure that the ground lug on the end cover plate, for instance, is nice and tight and secure. The other tool that you'll need is a conductivity meter. And we will use the conductivity meter to ensure that there is earth-ground continuity throughout the entire system for safety. Okay, let's get started with this procedure. First thing you need to do is make sure you have control of the power. Disconnect the power from the Strikeforce series of lights. Once you know that power is disconnected, go ahead and remove the cover plate using the 3/16 inch Allen wrench. And I will speed up this whole process of removing screws right now. Okay, once the cover plate is off, notice that there's a gasket still sitting in the gasket trough. We will leave that there. And we will begin by putting this end plate on the extension unit. Okay, so we'll begin by putting the gasket into the trough. And once it's seated into the trough, we'll take the cover plate, put it on as the new cover plate to the last light in the series of lights of the Strikeforce. And we will put all the cap screws in. And we'll go ahead and we will first loosely tighten these down, and then once we have them loosely tightened, we'll go ahead and torque these down in a cross pattern with the torque wrench up to 75 inch-pounds. So I will just go ahead and seat these quickly. Again, in a cross pattern, making sure we have full contact and no wires or anything is pinched. And again, the gasket is in place. So now let's tighten to the 75 inch-pounds, again in a cross pattern. And I'll go ahead and check one more time. Okay, with the cover plate now onto the extension unit, we can go ahead and make the connection between the end cover plate and the original last light in the series. So you will notice that they have a Molex connector. There is a ground lug here. We will first take the 7/64 inch Allen wrench and make sure that is seated properly. We will carefully pull the Molex connector out, and again notice that the gasket is in location. And this is a keyed connector, so there's a flat face and a rounded face, and so you make sure that those line up correctly and they will slide in easily. There are 2 tabs on the side and you can hear them click. Once they click together, snap together, give it a little tug to make sure that you have a good seat. And then put the wiring back into the box. And you want to make sure that everything lines up very easily and the plate is flush against the box. Then go ahead and take the new cap screws and let's put those carefully onto the box. And again, we will tighten in a cross pattern and we will torque it to 75 inch-pounds. So I'm going to speed this whole process up so you don't need to watch the process here. Okay, now that everything is tightened together, the next step is to ensure we have ground continuity throughout the system. So this is the end plug of the entire unit. So I should have ground continuity all the way from one of the end bolts all the way down to the ground post of this system. So we will need to use the conductivity meter. We will switch it on to ohms. And I'll put it here where you can see it. And you'll notice that it says OL for open loop. If I put the two contacts together, it goes to 0, indicating that I now have a closed loop. So what we're going to do now then is make contact between an end screw on the end cap of the extension box that we just put together. And I'll just go ahead and make contact right there, and we'll go all the way out to the ground post on the plug. And you notice it says open loop right now, and you see it goes to 0. Okay, so that shows me that I have ground continuity throughout the entire system, from the end light head all the way out to the plug. We can now plug the system into power. You see both lights illuminate. So this is how easy it is to add an extension to the Strikeforce series. Only takes, like I said, about 5 minutes. The same procedure, for instance, can be used if you wanted to add an actual drop light length. So in this case, the cover plate of the light head comes off, and you go through the same process. Take the gasket, make sure the gasket is there, screw the screws on, plugging in the Molex connector and making sure the ground post is properly seated, and you will have a drop light extension. And again, that can be whatever length is required for your facility and your job site. The reverse of removal of light heads is exactly the same. Begin by disconnecting power. Decide where you're going to make the break in the Strikeforce series. Remove the screws. Decouple the Molex connector. Set it to the side. Take the end cover plate off the last light in the unit, and with the gasket in place, put the new cover plate or the cover plate back on to the last light head in the Strikeforce series. Measure ground continuity throughout the system, and you are set to go. So I hope you enjoy your Strikeforce series. It's a great light series, very versatile, able to mount in multi-locations as you've seen in previous videos. So thank you again.